Okay. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Paid Search Podcast. My name is Jason Rothman. As always, I'm joined by the great Chris Schaefer, and this is a podcast about all things Google Ads, both for advertisers, business owners, in-house advertisers, in-house employees, agencies, marketers, freelancers, agency owners,
Wow.
everyone in the industry. We give you actionable insights. Welcome back to the show. Chris, how's it going today?
Oh man, it's great. It feels like a list day, which is it. That's appropriate. We have a list, and you've already started it with a list. We didn't hear from Jimmy. I assume he's okay. But it's a beautiful spring week in Texas. Just so quiet. I don't know why the streets are so quiet. No real reason why they would be, as far as I know. It's just beautiful, and I'm happy to be inside, staring at my computer screen, talking about Google Ads. Where else would I want to be? So we have a great podcast today, despite my sarcasm. We have some really interesting stuff to talk about. I there are times when I'm speaking to people and I'm doing training with people, and they tell me, "Oh, wait, what was that you just did? What was that? I didn't see that." And I'm often surprised by things that people never knew that they could do, information they didn't know they could get. And Jason, I know you have thoughts on these as well. And we've come up with some ways that we use what we like to call the hidden metrics of Google Ads. Some of these you'll know, some of these you may never have heard of, and you don't use, or you may have heard of them and you don't use them. So I think it's going to be a really fun, practical discussion.
Oh, yeah, Chris, I'm looking forward to it. You made some great notes here, and you may wonder where the yes is. You may wonder where the Jimmy is. And I just would encourage everyone to listen to the intro of last week's Thursday episode because
Oh,
I gave it all I have to give, and I need to
oh.
recover from that intro. So that's why I know yesterday. That's why I know Jimmy today.
Wow, it takes. You're a slow recovery. You're not a wolf. You're not the Wolverine of podcasts. You're
No, I'm not the young
respawn and
man I used to be.
Yeah, you're a dad. Have you announced, Jason? Have you announced formally the changes in your life? Just to take a second. I know you're a busy man making your millions. Have we discussed how your life has changed? Can we talk about it?
Behind the paywall we have
Okay. I mean,
on
just to
Patreon.
share. Jason finally has hair on his chest, ladies and gentlemen. That's he's grown up. You don't have anything you want to share?
Behind the paywall.
Okay. The private man, Jason, the private man who who sometimes shares too much. I understand that. Okay. All right. So before we jump into the hidden metrics of Google Ads, guys, I want to tell you about the best software out there to do Google Ads management. You listen to this show, you trust us. Jason and I have our own businesses. We make our own decisions. We run our own companies. We make good decisions about Google Ads management. And that's why we've been doing it separately, independently for so long. And you can trust us about Optio. Optio.com/PSP2 for a 2-month free trial of this software that's designed to get things done faster in Google Ads. You're a manager of a few campaigns, 100 campaigns. You're running a moderate size agency, a large agency, a small agency. You're in-house and you just need some help because you're the one guy the boss picks on when leads go down, and somehow he thinks you're doing a bad job and you need help. You don't have anyone else to talk to. This is the tool to help you get ideas, get strategies, to help get it done faster. I'll tell you, people love to just see data in a new way. Look at your data in a new way, see it with a different pair of eyes, and you'll get a whole new world opened to your eyes. So check it out at opteo.com/PSP2 for a 2-month free trial to try it out for free for free, and you will like it. And we are really thankful for our sponsors. Jason?
Yeah, Chris, thanks. And I want to thank Directive Consulting, and they are leading the way for software companies around the globe. They offer next-gen performance marketing for software companies. They partner with you, ensuring that every SEO and PPC campaign you launch is a remarkable success. I want to tell you about the work they did for Matillion. Matillion is an industry-leading provider of cloud-based data integration solutions for platforms such as Amazon, Snowflake, and Google BigQuery. Matillion delivers technology that enables companies to exploit their cloud data, providing simplicity, speed, and scale. Though Matillion is a high-profile, innovative company, they wanted to increase their organic traffic and organic conversions from their ideal customers in the data transformation industry. The Directive team focused on establishing Matillion's digital presence by building organic traffic and organic conversions. To achieve growth, they concentrated on brand awareness, link building, and website conversion rate optimization elements to keep visitors on Matillion's pages. The Directive focus on establishing Matillion's digital authority led to a 2,750% increase in MQL and a 64% increase in organic conversions in just one quarter. And if you want to get the same results for your software company, you can get a custom proposal at directiveconsulting.com. Directive is the go-to performance marketing agency for software companies. They partner with in-house marketers to ensure their PPC and SEO campaigns are a huge success. Once again, visit directiveconsulting.com to get your fully custom proposal. So, Chris, I want to thank Optio. I want to thank Directive, and I want to thank the Paid Search Podcast store as well. We have some beautiful red T-shirts.
Hold it up, pass the mic up higher.
I noticed that last time.
Too high. There you go. There it is. That's it. For our audio listeners, let me describe. It is a gorgeous blood red, deep red shirt with just a wonderful smell. Jason's guaranteed to have rubbed his face and shoved all of them down his shirt. You'll love the smell that comes with it. And it says across it in the beautiful script you have known to come to love. It says the Paid Search Podcast. And also, you want to introduce this secondary product here?
Yeah, we have one mug on the store. One side of it says the Paid Search Podcast. The other side of it has me. And then the tagline under me is the better co-host. And we're working on Chris's mug. It's in production. And we'll get to it eventually. But right now we just have one mug that says the better co-host. And I happen to be the one on it. So it just happened to work out that way.
It just happened to work that way. I have this theory that my mug is going to just get caught up in complications. You know, it's going to be some kind of production issue, and it's just always going to be Jason's mug with Jason's face, and it's going to be the only one. That's my theory. We'll see. But that's okay.
So Chris, you were telling me before the show, a lot of people think they know what's going on with Google Ads. And then there's a different level. And I love going to that different level with you, a higher place. Can you take me higher? Where are we going today?
Okay, so here's the thing. It's not like these are hidden on purpose. We're talking about the hidden metrics, and we're going to talk about columns. We're going to talk about different buttons and things that are quote unquote hidden in Google Ads. But in reality, they're not really hidden. It's just things that you didn't know you could get answers to. Questions you didn't know you should ask is really the thing we're going for here. So, and there's all kinds of great ways to get answers on Google. And this is things that we both have found and used basically by asking very important questions. Like, for example, on our very first one, the question that I hear all the time in the trainings that I do, search terms. I'm looking at the search terms and I think, oh, where did that come from? What keyword triggered that search term? So that's the question that we would want to answer. And the great news is I'll briefly describe it, and then Jason, I'd like for you to kind of talk about why you use it and how it's useful to you. But the way you can find it is go to your search terms tab, open up and modify the columns in your search terms. And we're talking about search campaigns. So your search terms and your search campaigns. Go to your columns and look at the group for attributes. You probably never clicked on that before. And inside there is a lonely metric called keyword. Drag that over towards the front of your columns, and bam, you have a gorgeous list of which search terms are triggered by which keywords. And you can find that if you sort by sort them in different ways, you can find out, oh wow, this one keyword is bringing in some junk. You can see that this keyword only has like 2 search terms. This other one has 5,500, and you realize I really need to isolate this, control it. So Jason, how do you use it? Why is it important for you?
Well, I think one thing people value about the show is the honesty in just a sea of disgusting false representations in some aspects of this industry.
Yeah, it's like other paid search blogs and podcasts and videos. It's like they were conceived by politicians or something. Like, how did you get your advice from a politician? Why are you so slimy when you're talking about this?
I was I was watching our own content on YouTube late at night, fast forwarding to only the parts where you're on screen.
Oh, great. Gosh. What?
Just reviewing our production and seeing how we can improve things.
Right.
And checking you out. And so I saw an ad before the content, and it's our content, so it's the industry we're in. It's a relevant ad and all that.
Right.
It was on our recent video we put out about B2B leads and stuff, and the ad was like, get insurance leads for $1, and it was that pure hyped up like, hey guys, I got the secret. You want insurance leads? We can get them for $1. Click the link below. Sign up for my webinar. I'll be there Friday at 12 p.m. And then they have the countdown clock, and it's like, no, they're not there. It's just all a lie. It's like a pre-recorded thing, but people still believe it. So yeah, Chris, the thing people like about the show is the honesty. And this is a very cool part of the search terms report. Okay, so here's how niche I think this column is. No one is in search terms more than me. And I say a lot of no one, I say biggest in the world, I say a lot of those kind of claims. But I honestly think that about Google Ads and search terms. No one lives in the search terms report more than I do. Even that said, the amount of times I've added this keyword column is very, very small. And the amount of times I've right-click, open the ad group link in new tab to see what keyword produced that search term has been like thousands of times. So for whatever reason, and like you're saying, Chris, it's not a secret. It's there. You can get it if you want it, but it's just out of the way. Like, I just don't have the thought very often to go to modify columns, attributes, add the keyword column in the search terms report for whatever reason. So I have not done this enough. I'm going to start doing it going forward. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to save the columns with the keyword column added. And I can't tell right now, just kind of a tip for people where I would want it to go. But some people are going to do what you said, Chris. They're going to add that column. It's going to be on the far right side. And it's going to be kind of hard to take your eye gaze from the search term column on the left to the keyword column on the far right. So at least in the moment, I kind of like adding it to the far left as possible.
I do.
So you can kind of like tie your eyes to it. So Chris, I'm just looking at an account here, and in terms of how to use this, at least in this one account, I'm finding some very interesting insights. Number one, my pure broad keywords are not as bad as I thought they would be. It's kind of interesting on pure broad keywords that I'm running how relevant the search terms actually are. Broad match modified, also finding relevance. I think that one of the most interesting things I found just reviewing one account before the show is how not cool my phrase match search terms are, like how off they are. I'll give you an example. I think I had a keyword stock market podcast and phrase match. And the search term, and I've seen it a couple times in here that came up from that, was stock podcast. And I don't know if
Oh,
that's some kind of podcast industry term or something. I'll try to find it just to show you. Yeah. So stock market podcast phrase match, right? Like it's a podcast about investing that I'm advertising for that's very focused, stock market podcast. And then to show up on a keyword, stock podcast. Well, someone might like they just totally took out the word market out of my phrase
right.
match. Like, and I thought we've
And
been
that's a phrase
talking.
match.
That's phrase match.
Yeah.
We've been talking
So just
so
to be
much.
sure, it's
Yeah.
3 words, right? Stock market
Are you
podcast.
insulting
That's
my?
not,
Are you calling me a liar? Like, is this how bad it looks? Like,
no.
Chris, it is stock market podcast phrase match. That's what I
I'm
want to
just
target.
wondering. I
And
am
the way
not in the industry. So I'm not in the industry. So I'm just confused because I don't know if stock market is 1 word or 2. I'm just confirming how much that keyword was changed. It was a 3-word phrase match. And it
three
was
word phrase. And we've talked so much
pushed
lately
into
about
2.
exact matches and the kind of search terms that show up with exact matches and how that's really loosening up. But I did not realize phrase match was loosened to this extent where they'll just take a word out of your phrase. And the whole promise of phrase match was your ads
It's
will
that
show when
phrase.
this phrase shows up with anything
Yeah.
before it or after it. But now they're just taking words out of my phrase. So people could search podcast about stocks. That would still be relevant. But singular, the word singular, stock, podcast, what is that about? Like, no one in the stock market world is going to search stock podcast. So I was kind of disappointed to see that, but it was very illuminating to me because for whatever in my mind, Chris, I still give phrase match a lot of credit, like way, way more credit than broad match modified maybe. But what I'm seeing here, what I learned from some insights, just reviewing one account with the keyword column in the search terms report, you got to also be watching your phrase match keywords like a hawk.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
Well,
What do you use this for, Chris?
I mean, it's a whole new level of quality control. I mean, if you're scrolling through and you see, I mean, this should be part of your regular process. If you're scrolling through and you see something really far off, something that's out there, this is a great secondary quality check to confirm that the modified broad that you're looking at, the phrase match that you're looking at, isn't, you didn't accidentally put the plus in the wrong spot, or you didn't accidentally break it by, putting the quote in the wrong spot or something like that, because you will quickly see that this is coming from this keyword, and it would isolate the fact of the question, why did it show up? Does it say phrase match variant? Does it say broad match variant? Does it say exact match variant? So you can see, well, there was a variation on that keyword, or does it just say broad match, phrase match, exact? And that's literally allowed, not based on a variant, but the actual match of that keyword. And that, oh, there's something wrong with this. I need to change that. I need to add a 3rd word in that, or I need to change it from broad to phrase, or phrase to exact, or something like that. So that's the idea. That's how I use it. And let me say one thing. The inverse is something I also see a lot that people don't realize. Go back to your keywords tab and hit the checkbox next to that keyword. So get out of your search terms, go to your keywords tab and hit the checkbox. And then on the blue bar, there will be a search terms button that shows up. It'll say search terms in that little blue bar. Once you highlight one keyword, click that search terms. That's the inverse of what you just did. It takes a full list of search terms on the first version we talked about. The second version will take everything and only show you that one keyword search terms. So that's both ways of qualifying your traffic without, having to open up multiple tabs or, go back and forth, hit back, forward, back, forward to try and figure out where it's coming from, or changing your date so you can see, I just want to see today so I can figure out where this came from. That's going to save you a ton of time. Okay. This next one is, oh, did you have something?
Oh, well, it's just one question I could see people asking, Chris, is, okay, you're reviewing your search terms report for new keyword ideas and also for negative keyword ideas. And so how does adding that keyword column change that? And I just wanted to say one thing I think that it does for me, it makes me think about the ad copy a lot more, because I'm not only am I seeing what ad group the search term came from like normal, but just seeing the keywords that I chose, and the kind of search terms that are showing up for that exact keyword, it kind of just brings the ad copy to the front of my mind. And what you'll see is a lot of your search terms are still high quality. You're not going to be editing them as negative, but then just seeing the keyword there, it kind of reminds me to ask myself, like, okay, I'm targeting this keyword, but I'm getting this kind of traffic for the keyword. Does my ad copy match that traffic? And so I think it just kind of refines that process for me. So I just thought that was interesting, looking at the keywords on the search terms page as well.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is going to be at multiple views. You can see it in your campaigns, you can see it in your ad groups, and you can see it at your keyword level, not your search term. That's stops at the keyword level. Okay. And it's going to be in your Google Analytics group. That's the column group that is going to be inside. So if you're modifying columns, if you're at the campaign level, it'll be labeled the Google Analytics. And the metrics are bounce rate, pages per session, and average session duration. Those three. Now, I'm not going to go into a big speech about, what these are and why they're relevant. I think the point I'm saying here is that if you just look at your bounce rate at the campaign level, realize that you can also see it at other views. You can see it at the ad group level. You can see it at the keyword level. So I think it's really valuable, particularly at campaign level, to get a 30,000 foot view of what's my overall bounce rate. It kind of gives you an overall score. Do you see a 60% or do you see a 95%? I don't really care if it's a 80 or an 85. Okay, we're not talking about small. I'm talking about overall. Is it relatively low or is it really high? Okay, then you jump down to your keywords and you figure out, compare that difference. If there's a keyword that has 95 and another one that has 55, consider that you're pointing in different levels of the funnel, the search funnel. This keyword is getting people to bounce immediately. They're not responding to your landing page, right? The ad copy does not present what they think they're going to get. While the other one, obviously the people are sticky. They land on the page, they engage with it. So the main idea is not necessarily the metrics, but how you refer to the metrics and the fact that you look at the high level and low level and compare the difference between the keywords and also ad groups as well. So that's the main thing there. And I usually have those on by default. Just
every time by default.
Yeah. At least on the campaign level, not necessarily on the keywords, but definitely on campaign level, because sometimes, I just kind of glance at it and it gets my mind thinking like, oh, we're at 80% bounce rate. What's going on? And then I remember, oh yeah, this, or maybe on a 95% bounce rate, and it reminds me, oh yeah, we're on a landing page on this account. Maybe I should revisit that and consider getting them to test their website instead of their landing page. There's all kinds of reasons why I'd want to see it.
Yeah, Chris, I think just some ideas for people out there. Number one, what I found often, now this takes out the landing page discussion, because if a landing page is one page, maybe when you fill out the form, maybe it doesn't even go to a thank you page. So just talking general websites now, usually they all kind of correlate together: bounce rate, pages per session, and average session duration. Especially bounce rate and session duration. You get a super high bounce rate, you're going to have a super low session duration. Alternatively, you get a good low bounce rate, you're probably going to have a good high session duration. So there's a lot of times where I've had bad keywords in there and not working, and we'll have a bounce rate over 90% and an average session duration of 1 to 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. It's one thing to see like, okay, we're getting our cost per conversion, we're somewhere near our cost per conversion goal, the search terms look nice, Google Ads is working great. You can kind of tell yourself that, but at the end of the day, if you're taking people to a website and your average time on site, average session duration from Google Ads clicks is 2 seconds, you can do better. Like there's got to be a way to improve that. So I use the words cut through the BS, Chris. It's like people can play around all day long with like, oh, this metric looks good, that metric looks good, look at these search terms, but really, if the traffic is not performing on site, and the Google Analytics data will tell you that, it kind of makes things very clear. How about just a plea Google, Chris, just an absolute, I'll get on my knees and beg, devices area of Google Ads. I've been wanting this for years. Could we please on columns, modify columns, devices? I'm just checking this so I don't sound like a
it's
idiot.
It's
but
not
I'm looking there, and it's not there.
And if you're begging for that while you're down there on your knees, Jason, go ahead and ask for impression share. I would love to see impression share. It's not available
for devices
there either. Yeah, for devices.
There. Absolute top and top impression share is.
No, that's different. No, not the same.
No, you're right. So yeah, I would love analytics data and impression share data on the device level, because then we could see like, oh, is our time on site desktop actually like 5 minutes and our time on site mobile is 20 seconds because it's a B2B and people want to investigate and stuff?
I can already hear the phones ringing. We have operators on standby. We have a fantastic team of 50 people that receive all the letters and phone calls that we get from our millions of listeners. And I can already hear the phones ringing. You can see that, Chris, in your Google Analytics. You can segment it down.
Oh yeah, I'm the guy that taught the world that. That is true. The devices and then filter by only paid traffic.
But listen, I don't think it's a problem that we ask that we can do things directly in Google Ads, right? If the information is there in analytics, I would really prefer to see that information directly in Google Ads.
No, that's why the whole linking thing is a thing, because you want to link Google Ads to Google Analytics so you can get the Google Analytics data in Google Ads to make decisions and stay in Google Ads.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like there should be much more integration there, and there isn't. It's almost like those. If I remember, it's called Google Ads and Google Analytics. There's like a common denominator of Google. I think it's the same company that does those. It's kind of weird that
that really is one we should. It'd be nice to be able to get that. And then finally, Chris, the one way I use this, and just speaking to the professionals out there, hey, I don't think my ads are working. Well, you didn't add your conversion code. Well, but I don't think they're working. So a lot of times you work with advertisers. They don't have their conversion codes. Their IT guy comes in and goes, what's this extra code? And just deletes it like 18 months into a campaign or 5 years in. All of a sudden the conversion data just stops showing up.
Just stops.
So sometimes you don't get perfect conversion data. And then sometimes a client sees the money going out the door, but they understand that Google Ads is working on some level because they get business, but at the same time, they don't have any metrics to prove it because we don't have conversion tracking in place. Well, you can show them the analytics data in the account there, and you can be like, look, like we have a 40% bounce rate. We have 3 minutes time on site. We have 5 pages per session. Like, it's working amazing. You think people are just spending an average of 5 minutes on your site and not calling in, not filling out a form? And so it's kind of it doesn't override conversion data when you have conversion data, but it is like a nice backup to be able to refer to.
That is by far the best argument for why Google Ads is working, is the first two topics we've discussed: search terms and bounce rate, time on site, pages per session. Those two things prove that your users are valuable. They're searching this, they're coming on the site and staying for 90 seconds, 120 seconds. I mean, how can you argue that this isn't worth the money that you're paying if people are searching, finding you, and staying, even if you don't have conversion data? So yeah, that's a great point. All right, next, this one may seem fairly obvious. We've literally had an entire show about these two, but I think they're really important. We can briefly go through them, but it's available at the campaign, ad group, and keyword level. And it is in the group of columns called performance. So when you go to modify columns, look for the performance at the very top, and it's impression top percentage and impression absolute top percentage. Now, just for the noobs, that is IMPR dot top and then the percentage sign. IMPR ABS top and then percentage time. So that's impression top percentage and impression absolute top percentage. If again, for the newbies, if you listen to the old show, which we have all of our old episodes available for the amazing price of very cheap, you'll hear us talk about average position. That doesn't exist anymore. It's been replaced by these. Some would say that this is actually an improvement because we now get 2 metrics for one. You can listen to the old show and find out that we actually would prefer to have 3. We'd prefer to have average position and these 2, but we can't have our cake and eat it too. But average position is now called impression share top percentage and impression absolute top percentage. And what that means is when you're in number 1 position, you have a percentage that you're in number 1 position, and that's the impression absolute top percentage. And when you are above the organic search results, you are getting a percentage of impression top percentage. This is important because I've been on meetings with people that had no idea this metric even existed. So I mention it because this is the number 1 way to answer the question, where are my ads showing? Are they in first position? Are they above the organic search results? And you can get those direct answers and the percentage of how much it is there.
Chris, I'm still
Yes.
down on my knees with Google, and I'm looking up at them, and I'm saying, is it too late now to say sorry? Because I'm missing more than your body.
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
Chris, I need to apologize because I had a little meltdown when they took average position from me, AVG. POS.
Yeah.
It was my favorite column. I optimized based off of it so much. But you know what? After playing around with this for almost a year now, probably, impression share absolute top percentage or impressions absolute top and impressions top percentage, it's better. It's better insights, and there's more you can do with it. And I love using it. And I just replaced what I did with position. I put it in the same area of where I used to put the position column. And I love using it. Now, one thing I found in some competitive industries, Chris, it is so hard to get an absolute top impression share of 100%. And I guess in the old days, maybe if someone was going for number 1, it would have that big fat number 1 there, and then it would have a point, and it would have a 3 or a 4 or a 2 or
1.
a 1. 1.1, 1.4, 1.3, 1.2, and you'd be like, oh, I'm position 1. But then when they break it down by percentage, it's like, oh, no, you're actually only absolute top like 67% of the time, 78% of the time. And it's really, honestly, it's spooky.
Much more precise.
It's much more precise, and it's just, I'm telling you, man, like I could bid incredible amounts. I could have quality scores of, I don't know, 5, 6, sometimes 7 or 8, and on very competitive things, and just be bidding a ton, and it just never seems to get there. And it's honestly, it's had me thinking a lot of things, Chris, and I don't know if I want to share them with you, but it's really had me questioning like how much control we have over things. And you know, if the other guy is willing to bid a very large amount as well, the other 2 guys, the other 2 advertisers that are super competitive in that market, maybe it's just a shared position kind of thing. Like maybe you can't just go in there and go, oh, I'm going to bid way more than anybody else. And I think what's happening is the automated bid strategies, Chris. People are running automated strategies that have to do on sometimes location and stuff like that, impression share. I don't know, like max clicks, like it just seems like sometimes I raise my bids and then other people raise their bids, and I don't think they're doing it manually. I think it's more of an automated thing.
Oh, sure.
It's just, all I can tell you is it's just been a lot harder to get to 100% absolute top than I thought it would be. Now that I see that data broken out. Does that?
Oh yeah.
Does that?
I'll tell you what the difference is.
Feel that at all? Like, does that mean anything to you?
Manual bidding takes you to actually go in there and manually type a number, and it might hurt. You might feel the difference between putting a $70 bid and a $500 bid. But you know what? A computer doesn't have feelings, and it doesn't care. You can't outbid or outfeeling an automated strategy. If there is no bid limit left on that account, and you say, I want 100% search impression share in first position, it'll just, and you have the budget to handle it, it'll bid. It doesn't care. So you just got to get rid of that emotion. Jason, you got to turn on your robot and
No,
just
I'm
say
telling you, I don't have
perform.
emotions. Like I'm telling you,
Yeah,
like
there you
I
go.
think people will recall, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, you just start out the episode basically like crying. Oh, it's so tough. Things are so blah blah blah. And you were like, oh,
I,
you were like, oh,
no,
I just finished putting out fires, and now I got to come on this podcast and be all happy, cheery. But I'm in the middle of my workday,
that's
cry, cry, cry. And I told you I don't have feelings. And if you ever want to talk about how to not have feelings anymore, just talk to me. But Chris,
no,
I don't have feelings, and I'm telling you, I bid to that top spot sometimes when that's the goal, and it's
yeah,
still been tough. And
still doesn't get there. Huh.
yeah, and a final tip on those 2 metrics: don't look at those the day of. You're not going to get good data. Sometimes it won't even have a number in there.
Oh yeah. Oh
Look
yeah.
for the previous day or going even past that.
All right, so let's go through these last three fairly quickly because we got to get to the Patreon, which is our paid content where we really lay out just the stuff that you guys, it blows your mind if you want to join us there. All right, so we have locations. Okay, go to the locations at the campaign level. Go locations. It's not any particular group. It's just the locations options. And inside of locations, there is a secondary tab that you can go to user location report. And I love this report. This is one of those like little hidden things, right? This isn't a column. I'm now talking about what's basically a setting. It's not in the settings tab, but it's in the locations tab. It's a whole nother tab. And then scroll down to user location report, which will be on the screen somewhere. And this is beautiful because the locations tab by itself doesn't tell you where the people were. It just says where they triggered based on your targeting. So if you have United States, it'll just say, yep, 500 people from the United States clicked on your ads. And if you go to user location report, it'll say, oh, you got 200 from New York and 200 from California and 200 from this. It will break it down by state, city, zip. It's beautiful. There's all kinds of ways to break it down. So this is great because the question you're asking here is, where did my clicks come from? And you won't get that information nearly as precise anywhere else, more so than the user location report.
Chris, I use this a lot, and this is actually something that, like you're saying, the whole point of today's episode, the hidden metrics. Again, nothing's hidden. It's just some stuff's out of the way. This is maybe the most out of the way area of Google Ads in terms of finding some really relevant data, but it's kind of hard to navigate to if you haven't done it before. So I actually use this a few different ways, Chris. Number one, people in or regularly in my location, advanced location setting, that's the most targeted you could do, the most locked down, people in or regularly in. But then you can also do people in or searching about. And often what I do, sorry.
Go ahead.
Whew, just got hot and bothered there for a second.
Go ahead. My wife brought this to me. She said I should wear it on my podcast.
You should. Whoa.
Okay. I don't like that look you're giving me. I'm gonna take it off. Go ahead.
Wow. I don't think my iTunes is open, but I sure did just hear Dixie Chicks Cowboy Take Me Away. And I was ready to go. So, Chris, speaking of locations here and where we're going, people searching in or about, and if I had to take people who I'm auditing their account and put my hands on them, on their collars, and throw them up against the wall and say, this is the one part of Google Ads that you are underutilizing and you're not thinking outside the box. And then they look at me puzzled because they don't know what I'm talking about. And then I'll slap them. And it won't just be a slap on the fat, cheeky part of the face. I'll actually get some of that cheekbone and back closer to the ear, and it'll be more like a punch with an open-handed punch. Yeah. Now I really have their attention. And I'm serious, Chris. Like, this is one of the most underutilized things. People are so scared of searching about, but it really does bring in some good traffic. Let me give my classic example. Divorce lawyer in Memphis. The soon-to-be ex-husband is out in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, and he's in his hotel with his mistress. and he's in his downtime, and he's on his phone, and he's searching, for
he's taking a break.
taking a break. He's on his business trip, so he's still married, but he's out there. He's with his mistress. He's doing searches on his phone. He's from Memphis. He has some downtime, and he does a search: divorce lawyers in Memphis. This guy's a baller. This guy's got a lot of money. It's going to be a nasty divorce. This could be a huge fee for my Memphis divorce lawyer. But if they have it locked down to people in Memphis, they're not going to get his Beverly Hills location search, even though he's searching about Memphis. So it really can bring in some good stuff. And the question is, how do you prove that? How do you prove that you are targeting a 50-mile radius around Memphis, but you're leaving it open to people searching about Memphis as well? How do you prove that other states across the country are bringing in conversions to your client? Well, you pull up this where users actually were report, and you can show, oh, California, look, we're actually getting some leads there. Texas, we're getting some leads. So I use it that way. And then another way I use it, Chris, click fraud's not a problem. I always say it. They credit back your clicks. If Google didn't have this under control or basically solved, then the system wouldn't work. However, every now and then you run into some really weird competitors that just want to click on your ads and stuff, and those ads get removed because they see they're coming from the same IP address. But you know what? For whatever reason, if you don't like the data coming from a certain location and you see 5 clicks on 2 impressions one day, and the next day you see 7 clicks on 3 impressions, I like going into my actual where users were zip code, where users were neighborhood, and then where users were town or city. And you can get like really particular, like, hey, this doesn't look right. And so you look at Los Angeles and you're like, oh, 50 clicks from Los Angeles, however many impressions get to a 2% click-through rate. It looks right? But then you break down that targeting of Los Angeles to neighborhoods or whatever your options are, and you can see, oh, in this one little particular neighborhood, it just seems like an unnatural click-through rate, not just one day, 2 clicks on 1 impression that happens, but like over a little bit of period of time. I find myself using it for it that way, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. I'm confident they'll get caught. I'm confident we'll get credited back, but I don't want to have to worry about that in the back of my mind. Let me take this information I got and block this very, very small area of the area I'm targeting. So I use it that way as well.
Okay, cool. All right. So we got next one is go back to the campaigns view, go back to the ad groups view and the keyword view. It's on all 3 of these. And we're going to use the segment button. Okay. This is not at the top of the screen. It's not the left of the screen. It's over towards the middle right of the screen, and look for the segment button and scroll down on that list when you click segment and click top versus other. Top versus other is a beautiful way of answering the question, how many of my impressions are showing above organic? How many of them are showing below organic? And it will show you metrics of google.com, the search partners, and you can see. And one thing I've noticed is I had a client who was like, Chris, we hired you. We had these other companies, and look at your click-through rate. Your click-through rate compared to the other guy's click-through rate is horrible. And what I did was,
oh, really?
I was like, well, hang on. I've had that pushed on me before, Jason.
Did you put your hands on their collar and push them up against the wall and slap them?
Oh, I don't slap. Do I look like a freaking girl? No, I punch the heck out. No, I have closed fist, Jason. Closed fist.
Whoa.
Hit. Oh, yeah. So I
scary.
punched back and said, let's sort it and let's segment it out and figure out. Turns out their google.com click-through rate was astronomically higher. It was like 9%, 8%, 10%. It was really high. Okay. You know what was bringing that click-through rate down was the search partners. We had like over half of the impressions were coming through search partners. So that's where the search impression or the click-through rate was coming from. You would have never known that if you hadn't used this. And I would have never known the difference between top versus other and to be able to see those metrics. So really important stuff, very basic, but can be very informative about where your ads are showing.
Yeah, Chris. So I have a good point here, a good, really juicy nugget. I will share it. I don't want to share it because I don't want to indulge this part of the Google Ads platform because honestly, I'm bitter. I guess I'll share it. Just sometimes the top versus other performance at the bottom, it it can vary widely. It really can. Sometimes it matters. Sometimes it doesn't. It really just I've found to be very industry specific and very advertiser specific. So sometimes you'll get in there and you'll be like, "Oh, we're actually getting a fine click through rate from not top. Oh, well, lower usually, but or almost always lower click through rate. But I actually meant to say conversions. We're actually getting like a fine conversion rate when we show lower. And so maybe we're advertising nationally, we show lower because we have a small budget compared to the volume. And look, showing lower is not hurting our conversion rate. So I've had clients go, hey, I get the strategy is lower bids, get a lower cost per conversion. We can get away with it because there's so much volume, but I don't think I'm getting much from showing those lower spots. I think the good traffic already went to the top spots. I've heard that. But then I can pop open this report and I can go, well, we are getting conversions. Like, look at this beautiful cost per conversion and look just how much it's paying off. When we show up at the top, our cost per conversion is super expensive. If we just ease up and get the conversions from not top, it's actually a huge difference. So I found that to be, in some cases, that does happen. In other cases, Chris, I found that the conversion rates are just basement dog horrible compared to the top. And it just depends on the advertiser, depends on the industry. So that's my tip with this topic. But honestly, Chris, I'm bitter because this is another thing I'm down on my knees for. And I will do anything to get this data, Chris. I want to make that clear. I will do anything to get this data. I want absolute top versus other. I don't want top versus other. I want absolute top versus top versus other, because we get that data with impressions and we're, okay, how often are my impressions showing up absolute top? How often are they showing up top? We talked about that earlier. So why can't I get the conversion rate and cost per conversion data and all that data I want, breaking it down absolute top versus other when you segment? Because to me, it would be so fascinating to find out what is the conversion rate when you're in the top, absolute top position, number one, versus the conversion rate when you're in positions like 2, 3, or 4 above organic, but not absolute top. Because Chris, I've had a lot of clients and I'm kind of working through this, figuring out why people are asking for this, but and it's starting to make sense to me. I may talk about that in Patreon. There is something to that top position in a lot of people's minds, and clients want to be there. And I'm always pushing back like, hey, it's about cost per conversion. We have to balance that. And they're like, yeah, but I want to be there. And I'm starting to understand why with from a persuasion kind of perspective. It really does look good to be in that top position, absolute top. And the question is the conversion rate a lot higher there? I would love to know that, but we can't know that. But I will do anything to get that data.
Jason, let me ask you the ultimate question. Would you go to opteo.com/PSP2? Special URL, go to that. Would you go to that and sign up for a 2-month free trial if I could tell you that you can get more done in Google Ads? I'll give you an hour, and I'll use 1 hour where you can't use this amazing tool, management tool, and I'll give you another hour where you can, and you'll see that you can get done, I don't know, let's estimate 300% more, 300%, 400% more. You know, they haven't told me the numbers. I'm legally not obligated. Hang on. I'm not allowed, I should say. I'm not allowed to share these astronomically high numbers of performance that you can get. You know, doctors have said if your performance continues after 6 hours that you should stop using opteo.com/PSP2. But I'm telling you, you can keep going. It's something you can use all the time safely. And guys, you can get a wonderful tool for free for 2 months. You can go all the way into summer and a little bit out of summer before you can stop using this tool, and that's for the price of free. So check it out. Improve your keywords, change your ad copy, search out and build campaigns based on performance faster. Do things like find negative keywords. Do things like segment out certain ad groups and look at your metrics in a completely new graph layout so that you can see your numbers in a whole new light. This is the kind of stuff you can do with Optio. Optio is the Google Ads management tool to the stars, right? You're an agency, you're a freelancer. It can do what you need it to do and get it done faster. opteo.com/PSP2.
Thanks, Chris. And I want to thank Directive Consulting. Directive Consulting offers next-gen performance marketing for software companies. They're leading the way for software companies around the globe. You heard about the work they did for Matillion earlier in the show. They focused on establishing Matillion's digital presence by building organic traffic and organic conversions. They did this through brand awareness, link building, and website conversion rate optimization. They increased their MQL 2,750%, and they increased their organic conversions in one quarter by 64%. And if you want to get the same results for your software company, you can get a custom proposal at directiveconsulting.com. Directive is the go-to performance marketing agency for software companies. They partner with in-house marketers to ensure their PPC and SEO campaigns are a huge success. Once again, visit directiveconsulting.com to get your fully custom proposal.
Jason, one last thing is going to be in the tools and settings and the measurement segment, the measurement group, and it's called Attribution. So click on Tools and Settings, which is the little button at the very top of Google Ads. Click on Attribution. And let me very quickly explain why this is important. And it could answer the question of, do people click on my ads more than once? How long does it take from a point?
It'll answer the question. Why do I have 10.5 conversions?
Good point. No, it won't. Actually, no, it won't. It won't answer that question. Sorry. That's different. That's a different thing. That's the conversion attribution. This is the attribution screen. I'm sorry. I don't think that's true. But what this does is it segments out your time that it takes. So it'll tell you, for example, the one I'm looking at, for this client I'm looking at, it's 88% of the time it will explain that people convert within 1 day or less. And then 12% of the time people convert within 2 days or more. And then it'll also tell you conversions based on last click, data-driven, linear. It'll give you, if there's any difference in these numbers, it'll give you assistance metrics to show you that this campaign was a click-assisted conversion, things like that. It's way too more than I could talk about, but I feel like we could probably spend a whole segment on this, but just try it. Go check it out. You'll find all kinds of interesting information. And the question that you're answering here is, what's the time difference? How many times do people engage with my ads before they convert? These are the kind of things that you might...
Poppy, it will tell you click assisted conversion. That is the answer why you get different points, decimal points on conversions, because depending on the attribution you have, it'll like one keyword might get a 0.2 conversion, 0.2
Right.
of that one conversion. Another keyword might get 0.8 of that one conversion. But
that only applies if you are not using the last click or first click or something like that. If you're using linear. So, but for example, I'm on this one, I'm on last click. So there's no 0.5 or there's something like that. So I don't know. I feel like I'm
Chris,
right.
Well, we were looking at it from different ways. You were looking at it from the time it takes to get that conversion, and my mindset was more on the different types of conversion attributions and the assisted ones. So we're coming at it from two different angles.
You can just say, I'm sorry. You can just say, sorry, Chris. You can just say, sorry. It's all right. I forgive you.
So, Chris, actually, what I wanted to do No, I can say sorry. I can. I have that ability because, again, like I talked about earlier in the show, zero emotion, zero. Honestly, Chris, I was dealing with something in personal life the other day, and I came to
Oh,
the
yeah.
conclusion this would just be easier to deal with if I didn't have emotions. And so I'm not going to have emotions
Yep.
about it. So I don't
Yep.
know if that's healthy. Some people would say that's suppression, but it works
Probably
in the
not.
short term. It sure works in the short term. No, but Chris, I really wanted to talk about these the attributions. Not on Thursday because we're doing Q&A on Thursday, but a week from
Oh,
today on Monday, we're going to
sure.
do 200 and something episodes in our first discussion of attribution, conversion attribution.
Oh, wow.
And I
Okay.
was actually asking the patrons on the Facebook group what
Yeah.
attribution model they use, Chris. I was like, hey, guys, I really like last click. Is that what you all use? Multiple answers and breakdowns. No one said last
Yeah.
click. And I was shocked by that. And it kind of opened my eyes to, oh, I get it. Not everybody just does pure lead generation. They do all sorts of different things with marketing with
That's
Google
a
Ads.
good point.
So
Yeah.
what we're going to do on that episode, Chris, we're going to break down every single option there is for conversion attribution and then give examples of where and what kind of industries and what kind of advertising they would be a good fit for. So,
Hmm.
and then we're also going to break down this attribution page in full and talk about the different areas of it and the kind of information you can get, because it's been an obsession of mine in the last week, and we're gonna get to the bottom of it, and people are going to be attribution experts after listening to that episode. And I'm going to
Yeah.
make the notes,
Okay.
and it'll be my week for the content.
Oh, you get to make okay. Well,
Yeah.
I get a week off. That sounds good. All right. So, speaking of the patrons, we're gonna jump into our private cigar lounge where we chat and share amazing secrets and super steep price of $2 a month for you to join, and you can join in too. Go to paidsearchpodcast.com and click on the Patreon link. That's a secret club, guys. Don't tell anyone.
You gonna wear the
We'll
cowboy
be
hat?
back next week. Oh yeah. You can if you pay $4 a month, you can see me in a cowboy hat, which I don't know if we're gonna be able to finish the show. Jason gets pretty upset by it, but we'll see. We'll see you guys there. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.